state police are being given ammunition by this kind of situation, whereby you expect the federal government to come in and help you, and they are not helping, and they go to another state where they don't need military presence or police presence, and an UNGU is there, like I said, reaching paramilitary orgasm over nothing. So we should be aware of the consequences of our action. But I think I've answered your question. Well, because you said, what is it that the federal government should have done that it has not done? I said there should have been effective presence.
All right.
And such effective presence perhaps could have prevented what happened last weekend.
All right, I think, Prof, if you allow me comment, you seem to be having an interest in what is happening in Rivers State. We'll come to that, but as a member of that particular committee looking into that particular unfortunate incident that led to the death of some members of the Department of State Security as well as policemen, how soon are we likely to see that report?
I pointed out to you that it is a judicial commission of inquiry, and the implication is the problem is the tedium of the judicial process, in which perhaps a memo, if you have been reading the paper, perhaps a memo or a witness can be taken for a day or two, and lawyers come in with this objection or that objection or cross-examination. But I would think that very soon the report will be ready, because I assure you the commission is working day in, day out with sacrifice of their time and energy to ensure that this happens. But I must also inform you that the commission must be careful, and is being careful to ensure that everybody is given a fair hearing and that due process is followed. That explains, that will explain why it will take more time than you would normally expect in an administrative commission of inquiry. Then, of course, I have to say this one. It is this. You know, even after the commission submits its report, the limit on the power of the state government to act on the report we cannot go beyond prosecuting. But in terms of tackling the basic problem, it goes beyond recommendation for prosecution or whatever for those who are actually guilty of the mayhem or other instances of mayhem. It must also involve socioeconomics, conflict resolution among ethnic groups. And more importantly, it must involve the presence of security forces under the control of the federal government to nip in the bud, either by effective security intelligence report beforehand, or if it occurs, to contain as quickly as possible. So the point I'm making is that federal government has a responsibility and will continue to have a responsibility on this kind of matter unless the constitution is changed. And I'm not saying that is what we need now. I'm just saying that under this constitution, the federal government must accept responsibility for security situation in any part of the country, particularly the kind of security situation that is being experienced in Nasarawa State.
If we had state police, for instance, how will it change anything, say, in Rivers State?
Let me just tell you about the Rivers State. What is happening, I mean, wonders will never cease. Wonders will never cease. What is happening in Rivers State is unbelievable. And I believe it can only happen with a type of political class who appear to be not to have any ethos, because the only ethos they seem to have is want to say get power by any means and use it to corner economic resources of the state. I mean, look at what has been going on. I don't need to remind you the attempt to gag a citizen from having freedom of conscience, freedom of speech, and the governor at that, the state assembly in Bulgaria, the assault on the new PDP secretariat, where an official of the police bringing out his card, introducing himself, and pulling down physically by himself the poles. Now, the blockage of the entrance of the governor residence. And don't worry about that. What is worrying me, the role of the police in all this. If you had asked state police, there would have been confrontation. And if there was confrontation, there could have been declaration of a state of emergency, which state of emergency must be enforced by the police, which therefore the state police can resist, and you are having the insignia of a potential civil war. Now, I'm worried for the, if I may digress, I'm a little bit worried for the Nigerian police force.
Why?
Because of my area of discipline, I'm friendly with the police, and I sympathize with the Nigerian police force in terms of their human insufficiencies, material inadequacies, and so on and so forth. But I will tell you that the police appears to be his own worst enemy. For those of you who are not old enough to know, I will remind you, in 1983, the problem of the police started when Adewusi, the IGP, at that point in time, actually became like, acted as if he was an MPN, card carrying member. So that when the new government came in, they decimated the police. And the police has not recovered from that decimation up to now in terms of power, in terms of resources. And that is what Mr. Umbu is doing, appears to be doing in Rivers State. Like I said, I consulted the word. I thought the man is reaching paramilitary orgasm, doing his work in that state. And at the end of the day, people are going to start arguing that, well, perhaps we should have state police. Me, as of this moment, by what is happening in Rivers State, I'm almost changing my mind about my argument against the establishment of state police. Because
why?
Okay. I can't understand it at all. And they don't seem, Mr. Umbu and his people don't seem to have sense of history.
Yeah, but the thing about this, Prof, is that from what was put out there, the police at the time, they say, listen, there's a court matter here, and the matter is in court saying they should maintain status quo. So you cannot be opening an office when a matter is being determined in the court, and so they had to act.
I do not know. You must be friendly with lawyers. I do not know what you mean by a court giving a judgment concerning maintenance of status quo. Maintenance of status quo will be that there is a new faction of PDP, and there is the original PDP, and why they are still called the status quo is that the new
status
PDP has a right to exist, just like a dissenting voice, and the original PDP also will maintain its position that we will settle the matter either in a family situation or in a situation whereby we will see who wins in court. The point is, what is the role of the police in going to pull down flags and posts? And it's not even just a question of ordinary sergeant or corporal, a deputy commissioner of police.
It shows you the seriousness.
Bringing us card and physically pulling down. There is no way you can convince me that it is maintaining a court order that justifies that kind of behavior. How do you get respect? How do you get respect from the population?
We're not trying to convince you, Prof. We're just putting the information across to you.
To be an institutional authority.
We're not trying to convince you, Prof. We're just putting out the information as they say it is. So, and besides, even if they had state police, well, does it mean that their federal counterparts will not be working alongside them if they were to have state police?
Simbalen, can you repeat the question, please?
If those who are advocating for state police, if they had the state police, doesn't it mean that, or shouldn't there be their federal counterparts working alongside the state police so that their jurisdiction are all properly mapped out?
Definitely that is supposed to be what will happen.